My name is Edwin Beche. I'm your host. I'm founder and CEO of Helen Technology. Today, I have an awesome guest, Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly, not to be confused by Brian Kelly, the American football head coach for LSU, right? That's the football coach. This is the business coach. This is the one who kind of teach you how to make a bunch of money for your business. So, like, let's do this. Brian, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, Edward. I'm excited. Thanks so much for having me on your wonderful, amazing show, brother.
That's
It's going to be a lot
awesome.
of
That's
fun.
awesome. Have anybody you heard about the other Brian Kelly, right?
Oh, just a few times, yes.
I know. I was like, yep, yep. So let's do this, Brian. Let, let let's let's do like a quick introduction, right? Like maybe before we do like an elevator pitch of what you do, right? We're gonna go. Let's give like an overview of people. I always do this, like where I'm trying to introduce my guest for people to know where is Brian Kelly from. Like where did he grow up? Did he grow up like in Zimbabwe, Africa? Did he grow up? Let's go back. Like where did you grow up, my friend?
Yeah, in a small town. I'm still there. It's no longer a small town, but it's Lancaster, California, a desert town. Yeah, and I just remember as a kid growing up, I had a blast. I had a great childhood, and all the time not knowing that the family I was born into was lower middle class. We had very little money. Didn't know it.
Yeah.
Because they were phenomenal parents and brought us up very well. And I got to play sports, and that's what I loved. And we did that a lot. But then I became a teenager or preteen, junior high,
Mhm.
and I'm beginning to become more aware of our money issues. In one particular case, I remember this incredible, massive. I mean, the word was spreading about this movie that was coming out. There was no social media back then. I'm
Yeah.
an old
Yeah.
guy, and so it was all word of mouth, and it was all advertising on TV and all that. And I could not wait. And finally, the time came, and I went to my parents and I said, Dad, can I get a ticket? Can I get a ticket? And tickets back then, especially back then, weren't that much.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and he said, "Sorry, son, we can't afford it." And it was at that moment, something snapped in me, and I said to myself after thinking about that, I never want to be in a position where I have to look at my kids and say the same thing. Again, nothing against my parents
Yeah.
whatsoever. They did everything they could for us.
Yeah.
But that was a defining moment because then now I go back to school. All my friends have seen it. They're talking a different language because the movie was Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to see it, and they're talking R2D2 and C3PO, and I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" And I'm going crazy, uh, and so that just told me and instilled in me that I had this burning desire and drive to succeed more financially than my parents had, so I can do better for my kids than they did for us, which is everyone's desire and hope. And
Yeah.
that's what started this whole wonderful journey called life, and I'm loving every minute of it.
That's like, and actually that's one of the things, like as a parent, like you always want to just do a little like way to push, like if your parents were here you want to be here, and then your kids want to be, just kind of push them to go to the next level than where you are, which is awesome. But also I understand what you're talking about, like where you felt like left out, like where everybody talking like a new language, you're like, what are they talking about?
Yeah. That drove
So
me
that's
nuts, man. I couldn't stand it. I'm like, "God, I gotta see this movie." I didn't see it for years later, until years
wow,
later,
wow.
and so I finally go, "Oh, that's what they're talking about. Alright."
Yeah, yeah, I know. So I remember Lancaster. I think is like it's a little bit hillies, right? It got some hills kind of thing. I don't know
Yeah,
if I
we're in a
yeah,
valley, yeah,
yeah,
so it's called the High Desert. There's a couple towns, Lancaster, Palmdale, Little Rock, a few little towns outside too, but yeah, it's a place where we're looking to move out of. It's been a family hub for me personally and my wife as well. We both have family here, and most of that is now gone, and it's time for us to move on. And we're looking to move over to the east side of the country and see how much fun that can be.
okay, okay. So let me do this. I'm gonna do a quick introduction, and then maybe you can do an elevator pitch if I miss it. So I know Brian is an entrepreneur trainer of the year award recipient, an author, speaker, NLP certified, a former certified personal trainer, a creator and host of the Mind Body Business Show.com, and also the creator of Carpet Bomb Marketing. First, before you do the elevator pitch, what the heck is NLP certified?
Yes, that oh my gosh, neuro-linguistic programming is what it stands for,
Mhm.
and it's a proven science that was developed by 2 gentlemen not too long ago, about 30, 40 years ago, and it's something I came across through a person who became my mentor,
Yeah,
and he had a seminar business at the time, and he taught. So NLP is used primarily for personal development, for improvement. It's how to reprogram your subconscious mind for the better, and it's very powerful. It literally, and I don't say this very often, Edward, but it changed my life for the better,
yeah,
forever. And so for those that have not heard of NLP or neuro linguistic programming, reach out to me. I don't teach it. I could, but I do know someone that's fantastic that does teach it for a living. That's everything that she does, and she's phenomenal at it. I
mhm,
highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's worth any amount of money. I don't even know what they charge, what she charges, but definitely do that because it will change your life, not only your personal life, but it can also, and it has really it will boost your business as well. And it's a way of just changing, everything we have starts up here. It's with our mind.
yeah,
Either our level of success or lack thereof is all 100% attributed to our own mind. No one else is causing us
yeah,
to be where we are today. It's all about us and the choices we're making each and every day. And a lot of that's from internal talk. And so NLP provides you a tool to rewire your brain in such a way that you are more guaranteed success because it's done in your subconscious that we can't overtly control, but NLP gives you the tools to tap in and rewire it for improvement in your own life. It's an amazing, amazing science.
perfect, perfect. Let's do this, Brian. Let's go in maybe like the way I was mentioning about the elevator pitch, right? So yeah, it's known like an elevator pitch, but it's also like, let's say me and you, we just met, we're sitting next to each other in a plane. Of course, it's gonna be first class, right?
Absolutely.
And I go like, "Hey, Brian, what do you do?" Like an elevator pitch, like a quick pitch. What would you say? Uh, what do you do?
Yeah, it's real simple,
Mhm.
yet the process is very complex, but we do it for our clients. And I help entrepreneurs to gain massive exposure and develop incredible relationships with high end influencers in their space by way of building and producing and maintaining a live video show. And live video, as you know, we're on it right now, is
Mhm.
the way right now to market and get exposure for yourself, your brand, your business, or just have your voice heard in any of those cases. And that's what I do. People don't realize, and you know this, Edward, that there are trials and tribulations that go behind the scenes of getting the show going, as we were
Yeah,
kind of experiencing it just before now. But
yeah,
no one else sees that, and that's okay. And sometimes they do see it. Actually, I've had issues right during the middle of a show. Things like that can't be avoided all the time, but you can develop flexibility and learn how to adjust to it, and change what you do. So I go through an entire series of we create everything the videos, graphics, and those are just the superfluous stuff. I also coach. I will review personally and have my team review the shows themselves and provide input, feedback, things to improve to make the show more engaging. Also, implement strategies for always getting higher and higher influencer guests through a strategy I've proven. I use the same strategy. I landed the one and only Les Brown using the very strategy, and on and on and on. And then after the show's over, we repurpose it to many different avenues, platforms, audio podcasting. We create sizzle reels from the show, 20 sizzle reels that you can post on social media
mhm.
that give you additional exposure.
Wow.
We leave no stone unturned, and it's all about getting the brand known. People will ask on shows like this, like, how can people get a hold of you? I said, just search for my name. You cannot not find me now
Yeah, yeah.
because of all of these things I'm talking about. So, yeah, in a nutshell, it's basically getting massive exposure. And more importantly, or equally as important, is developing those super powerful relationships with the guests that come on your show.
Perfect, perfect. So so in my head, I'm kind of going all over with these different questions. Um, so you focus mainly on so entrepreneurs, right? So is it necessarily like just entrepreneur who are like maybe they have a small team or it just maybe themselves, but they are building their personal brand with this video media, or um, is it can you help anyone like say I work for Microsoft, I'm a developer, can this be how do you approach that? Maybe to just expand a little bit in that.
Yeah, it's primarily for entrepreneurs and small business owners, and in various degrees. Corporations, not so much, because what it is designed to be is like what we're doing right now is interview style shows. So you want to bring on guest experts in your field, and they will not only lift that will not only lift up the guest, but it also lifts you up because by proxy that person is providing incredible value. And so it's a variety of people that we work with, but it just depends. We have a chat and determine if they are a fit or not. And if they're not, that's okay. I will still help them in any way I can while we're on that call. I do this all the time. I love helping people and give them ideas and things to think about going forward if we're not a fit, and maybe even connect them with somebody else I know personally because I'm very connected now, to help them to further their goals. It's all about them. It's not about what we do and what we provide. Is what is the result you're looking for, and
Mhm.
can we help you?
Okay. So you're talking about creating, helping them to create this media of a video, uh, and then from there you're creating like a strategy for them to follow. Like, okay, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this kind of either from the editing your video, from what kind of guests to bring to your show and all that stuff. Um, is this like ongoing thing, or is it like, hey, we teach you for 1 month, then you're on your own kind of thing?
Great question. So right now it's a year plan, annual plan, and we do literally almost everything for you. So, and the purpose of this, I've learned this by doing live video. I go back over 10 years. This is before even Periscope existed. That was the first real well-known one. There was UStream and Livestream, and that was it when I first started doing live video. So I've been doing it a long time and learned a lot in the process. And it's become a super super powerful medium to get the word out.
Yeah.
Repeat your question real quick. I want to make sure I answer it.
Okay. Now I was thinking, yeah, you lost me because I was already thinking about some other stuff. I'm thinking about the other question, but I was talking about, if I remember correctly, I was talking about the you create a strategy and
Ah,
like either a month or year, and then you be like, hey, you're on your own kind of thing.
yeah. Thank you. You reminded me now. So yeah, I'm back on track. I can be trained. That's a good thing. So yeah, so we create all of the upfront, the pre-show activities. There's a bunch. I actually hold a live master class once every 3 weeks or so. In fact, I have one coming up Friday. I don't charge a thing for it. I don't sell anything on it. It's 100% information. But on this, I teach about the three stages of live video, and that is the pre-show, the during show, and the post-show stages. And we do everything pre and post, and some of the during for the client. Why is that? So they can show up and be themselves and be present. If you're doing it yourself, there is a lot going on, and you're worried about. Because I know this from just experience of doing it this way. You're concerned about, are they going to be prepared? Did I do the amount of work I needed to get them prepared? Are they going to be technically ready? Are they going to have the right camera? Are they going to have lighting? Are they going to have sound? So I developed a system that's nearly completely automated that my clients get to tap into and use. And it will tell the guest every step they need to be ready. That's pre-show. And then it will also send out automated posts to social media platforms telling folks about the upcoming show, complete with bio picture and headline and a link to literally click on to go to the live show when it goes live. You want to make it simple for people. And then when it's time to go live, that's where they have to do the work. They have to actually click the go live button and be the person interviewing like you are doing so masterfully right now, Edward. And then after the show, we do a lot of post show production. I have my team jump in. I have some tools, automation tools. We use AI tools as well. We do video reel creation and send that out. We do 20 posts per show. We just started doing that, which is phenomenal for a lot more exposure. We go on 35, I think we're on audio podcast platforms. We repurpose the audio. The show is edited, so the beginning and end are chopped off, and we put a nice intro, splash screen, and things like that. And so it's all about quality. there's three components. It's quality, automation, and massive exposure. And you put those three together, and you're destined for success. I've been
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
this a long time, and it
yeah.
works phenomenally well.
Just that's good. Why is it important, do you think, in terms of like this media of like live video or recorded video? Why is so important than if I'm just like, hey, I just like to write my content and just
Mm.
post it out there? What's the difference between both of them? Like, just be like, hey, I write really good inspirational, you know, uh, quotes and stuff instead of this video.
That's a really great question, and it comes down to when you're on video, whether it's live or not, but live is the best in my humble opinion because you can't go back and edit it. It's authentic. It is the real Edward right now.
Mhm,
It is the real Brian right now. And what happens is people can now connect with you at a deeper level. They can actually understand the essence of Edward on a
mhm,
video
mhm.
more than just the written word. Now, some people can write so masterfully you feel like you know them and can actually see them, but you still can't. And
Yeah,
with video of any kind, live or recorded, you won't, with words, you can't really see that smiling eyes that Edward has while he brings out the next great question,
I
like
know,
there
right?
you see right now. Yeah. You can't see that he's a pleasant guy. You
Yeah.
can't see these things. You can't hear the
Mhm,
gentleness of his voice. And all of these things help to get people to know, like, and trust you. And as an astute businessman, that's very important. And they
mhm.
will now know, like, and trust you at a deeper level. And what happens, I just had a call with a gentleman I didn't know even watched my show. He said, I just want to let you know that I'm inspired and I thank you for your show. I've learned so much about entrepreneurship because of your show. Well, if I'd written those words down, he probably never would have read them. And
Yeah.
so it's also the medium that people go to before if they see a video on one side and the written word on the other, they always go to the video
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's more entertaining. It's easier to absorb. It's just, and studies have been done on this. So yeah, video is very, very, very important to build a business or just to get your word heard out there.
Okay. Okay. So with this video, as creating this brand as a person, can can this video? I remember in my head also I'm thinking about Bill Gates. He started a podcast where he was doing like video and then he abandoned it. So it
Mm.
was like him and Rashida Jones or some he was doing like good. I was watching here and there, and then he just abandoned. So with this video, does it matter? Because as a business, like you're saying, you're helping this entrepreneur or small business owner, and then you talk about the strategy of picking the right guest. So let's say I'm a small business owner. Uh, let's pick real estate because everybody's doing real estate. Like right now, if you go on LinkedIn, probably there's uh, like every 20 connection and every 20 connection you have, there's like probably like 11 realtor, right? So it's like that's how I feel. Like I have so many realtor friends connection. So let's say a realtor. Who do you interview, and what kind of content do you need to bring that doesn't end up sounding like, hey, you're doing the same thing over and over? Although it might be like, oh, today I have this kind of house. It's a 4 bedroom house, and today I have a condo. Is that kind of how would you train a person like that,
That's
or
another
do you even have customer? I mean, student or customer like that in your network?
that's another fantastic question. And this is the way I roll, and this is how I recommend others roll. And what I do is I say my show
Mhm,
is not my business. So I don't go onto my show and pitch what I do ever, unless the guests on a rare occasion will ask me and like, wait, I'm supposed to be asking you the question.
mhm,
But we have fun. And so I make the show about value, giving them value. It is related to what I do, but it's not directly a pitch to what I do in any way, shape, or form. So that's why I bring on entrepreneurs and I bring on successful entrepreneurs from all over the world. They are my target market. So you
mhm,
can bring on your target market. That's very important to interview. Your target market as a real estate agent could be actually other real estate agents if you want to collaborate. If you have, you might get in a position where you have listings that the other agent can't um, access and vice versa. Like maybe they're not licensed in the state that you are, and you could pass on leads and things like that. So there's no uh, competition. These are discussions I would have with each individual to find out their unique position and condition where they're at in their business, to determine what they want to get out of it, and then meld it from there. So there's some upfront work to determine what kind of guests they want to have on, and the flow of the show. What kind of questions will they be asking to elicit those values? And so I teach and preach to make the show of a kind of a, we call it chunked up, high level questions, not detailed. So like with real estate investments, like what has been the number one marketing tool you've used? Like currently, I asked this of my entrepreneur guests. I did it last night.
Mhm.
What is your go-to number one form of marketing as it stands today? Because marketing 10 years ago doesn't necessarily work today, the kind of marketing 10 years ago, and it won't necessarily work 10 years into the future. What
Yeah.
is important is what's working today. So I ask them questions like that. So chunk it up, be more general in your questions so that it's absorbable by all, and then it also creates more curiosity, and they'll want to know more information, more detail, and they'll reach out to either your guest or yourself or both for additional information. But yeah, I would always caution on, don't go on and just list your homes that you're selling.
Yeah.
You can develop whole new video series for that. That doesn't necessarily have to be a live show. Develop a
Yeah.
YouTube channel. You can talk about it on your show by an ad spot. You can use an ad spot moment. I have ad spots in the very beginning. I
Mhm.
just do 3 of them and I move on and no more after that. And you can change what you put in there. You can say, "Hey, I've got some great homes for sale or listing, blah, blah, blah. Go to my YouTube channel here, or go to our YouTube channel." If you make it about yourself, they may not do it. All sorts of great stuff.
Yeah.
You took me down a good rabbit hole there, buddy. I love what I do, so I get passionate and start blabbing a lot.
No, that's good. It's good. It's good. It's a lot of good value. So also, does this mean? And okay, I have two questions. I want to make sure I ask both of them. One of this is with small business. Of course, with this pandemic, actually, it helped a lot of other people to start their own business. Either it's like online business. They have Shopify stores where they're like just kind of making probably enough money comparison to what they were making from their other job, right? So let's say I have a Shopify store online where I sell on my store. There's T-shirt, candles, baby stuff, maybe auto stuff. So now I'm about to start this podcasting media with the live part of it, and then I have maybe as a small business, but also I have a little bit now. I have developed. Uh, I'm able to pay maybe 3, 4 people now. I have a team in my company now in my small business. Is this media for everyone? Can I start that media because I have a Shopify store, online Shopify store? And if I can, if I'm not available, can I use one of my employee to broadcast on my channel? Is this channel named like my store name? Is this channel like how like I'm trying to figure is like how do you set it up for people to be like, hey, if you're not there today, but at least people know like this channel. Like let's say if I leave, I said the headliner, right? And then someone is broadcasting on the headliner, people might be like, oh, whoa, whoa, what is this? So I'm trying to figure. Do you understand what I'm trying to go with this? Sorry, it's
Yeah,
like I'm
and
going all over the place.
yeah, it's a common thing where what it sounds like you're thinking about more is what is the audience perception of what is going on during the show,
Yeah.
and how are they going to understand and know where to go when you want them to come do business with you. And that's where a lot of people are missteered or misguided. I had a gentleman on my show by the name of Seth Green. He partnered with Kevin Harrington, who is one of the original sharks on the hit show Shark Tank, and they have a podcast called Sharkpreneur. And we swapped stages. I interviewed him on my show and vice versa. And he said exactly the truth of what I had experienced up to that point. He said that they do not target the audience. They don't focus on the audience. They don't look for vanity numbers or sponsorship or any of the stuff that usually what people look for to monetize their show or podcast.
Mhm.
And what he said was exactly the truth. He said they concentrate on strategic relationships with the guests that they bring on the show. So when you shift your focus away from the audience, and I didn't say completely remove it, but shift the primary focus away from the audience to the guests whom you are going to interview,
Yeah.
it changes a lot of things. And now you can concentrate on not trying to just grow your show, but you're I mean, psychologically, it does so many great things, but now you're concentrating on building up your guests to make them shine. This is what they want, and that's
Mhm.
what you want for them.
Yeah.
And you're concentrating all your efforts on the experience for the guest expert. And when you do that, the quality of your show just elevates another level because you're not just there trying to get people to, hey, come give me some likes and some loves and stuff that a lot of people used to do, including yours truly, until I learned that that wasn't the juicy way to go.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's more about the guests and then strategically figuring out how to get those guests on your show. And there are lots of great ways to do it. I have implemented a strategy. It takes time. Everything takes time that's worthy. But once you put the strategy in place, you can bring on some pretty phenomenal individuals. They don't need to be household names. My God, I've had so many multi millionaires that I nor many people had ever heard of. And it really doesn't matter. It's because now that you learn that they have a great experience, they've been highly successful, then people, all they have to do is listen to them, take notes, and then model them. Basically, do exactly what they did if it's in alignment with their values. But again, it's not about the audience so much. The
Mhm.
primary focus should always be on the guest whom you are interviewing.
About the connection
Yes.
that you're creating with them. Okay. So because otherwise it can get really you can lose the whole motivation of it, like because now you're motivated by something different than, hey, I want to get so many people to listen to this, or oh,
Yeah.
I want to make money on this. It should be like, hey, enjoy it, you're making the connection with the guest, and that's what it really matters. So in terms of like, would you suggest for anyone who is a small business owner to start this, and if so, should they talk to you first, like person who kind of maybe train them to go along so they can start not waste so much time in producing
Oh,
a bunch of useless stuff. And if so, how can they find you? Actually, let's do a quick plug in. Should anyone be, not to say allowed, should anybody be just be like, okay, anyone can do this, or is this like, hey,
absolutely.
I have something? Mhm.
Yeah, I'll say yes and yes, that, any and all small businesses should consider very seriously, doing a live video show, and it's in an interview style, all of that above. I
Mhm.
would recommend that they first, go to and witness and experience the masterclass I put on. It's an hour in length. They can get to it at peakmasterclass.com. It's free, like I said. In fact, anyone who registers gets a hotel discount card of,
Yeah,
they're getting money
I
just
got
to
I got
register.
that. I got $300. Yeah.
Yes, and they're legitimate. I've tested them myself. I use a service for this, and, it's just an incentive to take that step and know that it's okay, and again, nothing is for sale. So, number 1, I would do that, and you'll get a lot of education from that and learn the basics, and then number 2, I will do this for your listeners. I'll just say it out loud, a link that they can schedule with me for a free one-hour consult, and that would be, the link is ryp.im/ the number 1 and then HR for hour.
Okay.
They can do it that way. And please in the notes put that you saw the show with Edward and that on the headliners and that you'd like to have a discussion about live video shows. That way I'll know because I get a lot of appointments and sometimes I'll go to the account and go, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I don't remember what this one was for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would highly recommend everyone that's got any kind of business because when it comes down to it, you could have the most glorious storefront, a physical store. I mean, with lights and
Let,
beautiful
let,
paint, and you could
so
very inviting.
yeah.
But if no one walks by it or drives by it, it's worthless. No
So
one
let's
will
do
go
this.
by it.
Let's do this, Brian. Normally, people when they get free stuff, sometimes they do not appreciate, right? Like they, oh, it's free, so they don't pay attention. Let's
True.
give value of it. Like let's say if this was not being free, if it was not free, if you're not just doing this for because you love it for the passion, how much will this cost? This consultation for 1 hour?
Oh yeah, easily 500 to 1,000. I mean, just
Yep.
the thing is I'm going to let you tell me what it is you're trying to achieve, and then
Yep.
we'll take it from there. And I'll be able to weave it into how you can construct a live video show around that,
Okay.
and then
Yep.
get yourself and your guest experts more exposure. And another note about guest experts is I don't look at this at my show as a transactional entity. In other words, I'm not looking at the guest expert and saying, "Oh boy, I hope I get a deal with this person and I can sell them on my stuff."
Yeah.
I don't go in with that attitude. I just go in with a collaborative attitude and say, I'll tell you, Edward, many times I become a client of theirs as a result of us gaining a relationship. So it's a two-way street. And I'm not looking to just for that kill, right? The close.
Yeah.
If they need something, if I solve a pain point of theirs, it will become apparent either in our pre-show discussion or even in our debrief after the show's over or subsequent discussions. I've got many lifelong friends as a direct result of my show. We talk regularly. I'm in mastermind groups because of it. I've learned about tools and resources. So it's a two-way street. You give them value, and they may, in turn, and they always
Yeah.
do, give you value in return. And it
Yeah.
may be that you become a client of theirs, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because
Yeah.
it only results in you growing your business even faster.
I give you an example. Actually, this is really great. Like you was talking about, like people with like small business owner, or I guess even for someone who's looking to just create this network, like where we have this network on LinkedIn, where you're connected with the professional network, you're connected with a bunch of different people. I feel more connected to people like when I talk to them. Like now, Brian, we're talking. Like let's say even now, like me and you, we then end up doing business together. But whenever it comes time that I want to do something, oh, I just need the reference where I can just check like on your network. I'm like, hey, is Brian connected to this person? Can Brian,
Mhm.
give me an introduction to this person? Like there's a connection there that you built than just someone randomly on LinkedIn say, hey, I see you do this and this. We can help you do this. I'm like, who are you? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know you. Like, so this is really good. So I would definitely suggest for people to do that and take advantage of that free consultation, and then take it from there. This is really awesome. um, the other question I was going to ask you, this probably you get asked a lot. Do you believe there's some sort of like a partner or formula to becoming a successful entrepreneur?
There are many, yes.
Mhm.
Totally believe it.
Yeah.
So, and here's the deal, we're all looking for that magical recipe, every one of us.
Mhm.
There are many recipes, for instance, to make a very successful, very tasty chocolate cake. Lots of different ones,
Yeah.
different ingredients. I'm not a chef, so I wouldn't even know the differences, but I will bet you there are many different recipes for delicious chocolate cake, which ends up in success, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And the same is true of business and entrepreneurship. There are many recipes. The key is to just find one and stick to that recipe. So you need to find this is my recommendation is find a mentor who has that recipe. Find a mentor who meets your values that is similar with your value system. Very important. If there are uh, any disconnects when it comes to your values versus theirs, that's not the right person for you, and that's okay. You will find that person. You don't. It doesn't need to be. I've met so many people that I could have hired as a mentor, but their value system was a little wonky compared to mine, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
I would just steer clear of them, even though I knew I could learn a lot from them and probably become more successful. But be careful in your choice of who you latch onto for that mentor. And does it have to be a one-on-one mentorship? Probably, ultimately. It doesn't have to be right away. My mentor came by way of he spoke on stage. I signed up for his seminar. I then signed up for his advanced classes, got to know him. Our value systems were in total alignment.
Yeah.
And then it took a couple years, but I got deeper and deeper into his inner circle. I became his lead trainer from stage, teaching his students his stuff. This was the NLP world. And
Yeah.
I did that for 2 years as his lead trainer. And it just happened that way. So it can take time, but you need to find that mentor that you can really learn from that has achieved success themselves. That's the important part.
Yeah.
I hear all these corporate employees, they're sitting across from each other. I used to be one where there would be a guy next to me and saying, "Hey, you should buy this stock." And I said, "Really? How's that working for you? I see you're still sitting next to me coming to the job punching a 9 to 5." Right? So be careful where you get your advice from, right? Be astute. And maybe that would work and get you, a vacation out of one stock trade or something like that. So
Yeah.
I'm being a little facetious, but
Yeah.
just do your homework, get to
Yeah.
know the person, like really get to know them before you make a commitment. But definitely find somebody who's willing to take you and teach you and give you honest feedback, feedback that sometimes may feel like it hurts.
Mhm.
That's just your ego talking when that happens. And when that happens, you know you're getting the feedback you need and you deserve and you desire and you want. And that's the feedback that will get you catapulted to the next level, not just inched up, but catapulted. You'll skip steps on the staircase and you'll be in the elevator on the high speed elevator going up when you get that kind of feedback.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, find a mentor and definitely just find that one recipe. That was the bottom line. Find someone who has got that one recipe, and then you need to follow it verbatim, ingredient by ingredient, measurement by measurement. And don't waver and say, I can do this better. I've done that so many times, Edward. And every time I failed, I was like, oh, I can improve that step. Like,
Yeah.
oh, God, looking back. Just be willing to be coachable and be willing to be corrected and know that hopefully it's being done with love. And that's how that's part of the choosing the mentor process. Make sure that they are in it for you, not just for their financial gain.
Yeah, and also not just that. Whenever you're picking up, you're choosing a mentor. Is for them to give you like a guidance. But at the same time, it's like they're teaching you, giving you information that you get to learn, not necessarily to take exactly what they are talking about, but at least to be a sponge to get informative information that you can turn and do maybe your own, like you can add your own twist to it, and kind of in a way I was thinking too also, do not pick a mentor in a desperation time, right? Like where I'll be like, I need want to be successful. So it's like, you gotta, like you're saying, you gotta pick the right mentor with the right value that you want. And I was thinking too, when you're talking, I'll start thinking about Shark Tank. Like literally, if you drop me in front of the Shark Tank, the show, and you give me like, let's say Mike Cuban and Kevin, what is it, Mr. Wonderful, like if Mr. Wonderful give me a deal and Mark Cuban does not, probably I'm still not gonna pick Mr. Wonderful because I feel like my value does not just align to
Yeah.
his. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. I'll think.
Great example. I mean,
Yeah,
that's perfect example. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna drive yourself crazy by picking the wrong mentor just
Yeah.
because you just want to be like, oh, I just need a mentor kind of thing. That's fine. So you mentioned about automation, and I was thinking, how important is automation to your business and why?
Yeah, for me and my business, it is vitally important. It is core to my business. I'm a
Mhm.
former software engineer in the corporate world and quickly realized how powerful automation can be in so many ways. But once you have implemented automation and you have it in place and you've fixed it, you've tested it, you've tweaked it, it will never make a mistake going forward. It's a consistency. It's always going to give that quality that you want your company to be represented with. And when I say automation, it's not so much to take the place of human endeavors like sales and anything creative, like creating videos or creating art like memes.
Mhm.
Uh, any of these things, editing videos, these often require human involvement, thankfully, and those do not need to be
Automatic.
automated,
Mhm.
really. But there are so many repetitive tasks that we do as business owners, as our team does, that can be automated to make everything more efficient. So now, when you've automated a task, that one person, that say that one VA that used to be doing that manually, you can now task that VA to do something at an elevated level, higher, that will help them develop a higher skill set for themselves. I always treat everyone I work with, they don't work for me, they work with me, by training them to the point where they can leave me. And that philosophy that builds a culture
Yeah.
where they feel included. I tell them about my company plans. I'm not one of those where I hide it like this and say,
Yeah.
no, you're just a worker bee. I'm not going to tell you
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Look, if you want them to be all in and buy into your culture, into your goal and your vision, let them know what's going on. You don't have to tell them your financials or anything like that, but tell them your plans. Get their feedback. I've gotten feedback from VAs that have been. I'm like, oh my god, I'm an automation guy, and I didn't even think of that. That was phenomenal. Thank you so much. This
Yeah.
just happened last week, literally. And so, yeah, it's automation is so key because it enables you to step away from the mundane and repetitive tasks that you really shouldn't be doing, either as a company or business owner, or even as your employees or VAs. They should not be doing things that can be automated, but instead give them something elevated that will take your business even farther. So we're not replacing human beings, we're elevating them. It's phenomenal.
Mhm, mhm. So, question. I was thinking too, also about this medium, like with the live podcasting, and let's go back to the same thing I was asking. So, I have my own business, small business. I have a team of 6 individuals with me. Should that include them into also start podcasting? But so I'm trying to figure, because this is just not just like you're saying, it's not just a branding for me as the CEO of that company. So people get build this relationship also.
Mhm.
Uh, should I encourage also these people that they work with me, like, oh, they work for me, be like, hey, you should start a podcast and talk about anything, but at least people they will know, like, hey, oh, you work for this company. Does that also kind of bring value, or is this more just, I know there's that core, like where, hey, I'm doing this because I'm trying to get a relationship with this person that I'm interviewing. Can this person also help? In a way, I'm trying to figure, like, can these people work for me also help with that, add value to also on top of the company that we work for?
Yeah, that's a great question. And as you're saying all that, I'm thinking, what would I do?
Mhm.
And I think I would stick with, so you are the face and the voice of the company. It's your vision, it's not theirs.
Yeah.
And they cannot properly exhibit the same passion,
Mhm.
and they won't, no matter how much you pay them or how many kudos you give them. It's not their idea, it's not their baby, it's not their passion. So they won't be as invested emotionally into everything that's going on. Rather, what I would do is concentrate more on getting you out in how can we make Edward, the CEO, get more exposure through different means, through platforms, through tools.
Yeah.
Have your VAs, in this is just my opinion, but I would have them researching and looking, always on the lookout for a new live video platform. They're cropping up everywhere now. And then say, okay, now we need to connect to it. That's now go figure that out, because not all of them are ready. They don't have full blown APIs ready that you can integrate into like Restream or StreamYard or anything like that. So
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
just I would concentrate more on the exposure and getting your face and your voice out to more places more often than I would. And this is just, I'm just knee jerk reaction to your question, but rather than have them do their own show, um, and that would detract them from their duties that they're performing for you on a daily basis as well. So I would just weigh, I mean, what would the purpose be? I would think about that. The end result, what do you want that to be? And is it strong enough to take them away from what you're doing now, or should they take a different growth pattern into
Yeah.
another area?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. Another
I love
question
how
I was about to ask you: what makes you excited about life,
whew,
and also what has been your most satisfying moment in business?
wow.
Well, yeah, like what what make what makes you excited about life,
Ah,
and the most
so
satisfying thing has
excited about life. My why is my wife,
been.
and what makes me excited is I get to get up in the morning and I'm excited. When I wake up, I can't even hit a snooze bar anymore, because the moment my brain lights up, that's it. I'm done. I got to get up
Yeah.
because I'm excited. I love what I get to do, and the reason I do it is so that my wife and I can live the greatest and happiest life ever.
Mhm,
And it's just always about improving that. And the most satisfying moment in business, that I always go with the first thing that hits my head, and
mhm,
it was going way back. I was used to be a certified personal trainer, and I did online fitness, and I had a whole program that people could stream it live, and I would do it live down in my living room I'm a tech geek, and so I
mhm,
had it all live. This is a while ago, and that's what I was doing back then. And when I was going through the journey with my mentor that I talked about earlier, he had this is one of the advanced courses that I was attending of his, and he had breaks during the courses, and he said, okay, tomorrow morning, I want Brian and his son, my son Wyatt, who is doing a lot of these workouts with me,
mhm,
to lead us in a workout in the morning. And that was the moment where it finally hit me that I'm in. This is the next step. And I was so excited that I was accepted into his inner circle. and that was affirming and saying that was a confidence boost like nothing before.
Yeah.
And the emotion that ran through me was intense and incredible. And then we
Mm.
did it, and it was a lot of fun because everyone could barely walk the rest of the day because we took them through it pretty good.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was a defining moment just because it finally gave me that one piece of confidence that I had not had in a long, long time, and that just like took me to the next level. And now it's just you just gotta trust in the process and know that that confidence will come organically, and it has multiple times over since. But yeah, that was a defining moment. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Let's try this again, Brian. Uh, what makes you excited about life? This time, wink if just wink if your wife is there. So we
Nope, she's not here.
you're like, save me, say, she's there on the corner, like, you better save me, like your wife,
Oh, no, 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 not at
I'll,
all.
I'll mess with you.
Yeah. Yeah, she is, she's my driving force.
Yeah,
We went through in the NLP, seminars, we went through this process, and I took students through the process. We
yeah,
did this multiple times, and sometimes some people come up with different answers. Mine was always the same. My why
yeah,
is my wife. And you
yeah.
go through a process of writing things down and going through it, and I was like, "Well, it's still that, still my wife."
No, no, but you see, like you're right. Like for people, if they have never experienced or seen that, then they will not understand it. Like when you say your wife is the person who makes you the happiest, like who get you excited, like about life, right? I have seen that, like where I have these family friends that I lived with them for 3 years. I learned so much by watching them, and I was like, wow, these two, they really love each other. Like they would be like, they would wake up in the morning, their wife, she would bring coffee, and then somehow, like in a weird thing, they would start dancing. And I was like, oh my God. They traveled together. They bought this big motorhome, about 40 footer. This thing was beautiful. Just you go in there, it's so nice, clean. They would travel. The husband was like a motivational speaker, so they would disappear for like a month and a half. They will leave me with the house for that time. I've lived in the basement or whatever. It was beautiful house in a beautiful neighborhood. Just a huge house by the golf course. And I felt like just by watching them, and I was like, wow, this is what love is. Like they loved each other. Just it'd be just like so. The guy was a little bit taller, about maybe 6 foot, and the wife, she was like maybe 5'1" or whatever. So the guy would be just watching TV, and she would just come, kind of just sit there on his lap, and they just like this. It was all the couples, so it's like it's just wonderful to watch people that they go through that love where it get you excited about life. Although some people never get to experience that, it just I completely understand what you're saying. That's awesome. Do you get to travel a lot with this? Has this business also, in a way, I'm trying to say, has this given you the opportunity to be able to travel, meet new people, and also maybe in a way, let's talk about this. What has this given you opportunity to meet other people? Like, has been
Mm.
like really what you thought it will be, or
Yeah, when I first started the show that I'm doing now, and it's been over 3 years, I didn't expect the result that happened. At that time, I was just scratching the itch of not being on stage, like
Mhm.
physical stage,
Yeah,
and I just wanted to do something that didn't require all the planning, the money, the travel. A lot of stuff goes into a live seminar, and so I just decided to start interviewing folks. And yeah, it enables you to. It also enables you not to have to travel. It's on the other side of the coin,
yeah,
so you can achieve more in less time and with less resources, i.e., money. And for traveling, though, yes, I'm literally going to a traffic and conversion summit here in San Diego. I shouldn't say here; I don't live there, but it's close enough. At the end of this month, and the beautiful thing is, I love what I get to do, and I love going to things like that where they have so many things that can help my business. I can network with people, get people, invite them on my show if they fit the mold, and do a lot of great things. But the key to giving someone the freedom to travel while they're doing their own business, the number one key is building systems in your business.
Mhm.
And by that means, yes, a combination of automation and human beings, like help, like VAs. And you want to build up that system so that, and I'm sure you've heard this many times, and your audience probably has too, but
Yeah.
to where you're working more on your business and less in your business, and so that you can literally leave for a while and your team continue the business moving forward along with automation, but the team will be knowledgeable of the automation as well in case there are glitches or hiccups. So
Yeah.
it's the one thing that really, really changed everything for me, Edward, was when I finally got a bona fide employee, a VA, to work with me. I have an entire agency at my beck and call, and I think completely differently and much better since
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah.
Before it would be Edward might ask me, "Hey, can we get on a call and you can teach me about this?" I say, "Man, I don't have the time. I don't have the bandwidth." Or someone would call me and say, or be on a meeting, "Hey, I've got this website on this one uh, very difficult to learn CRM, and you have your own CRM. Would you be open to pulling all my data over there and my websites and everything?" And in the old days, I just say, "Heck no, I don't have time for that." But now I have a team, and I just went to the team and said, "How many hours will it take you to do this?" Came back with a quote to the person. They said, "Yes, I made money by having a team." So the team doesn't cost you money at all times. You can use your team to make yourself money.
Yeah.
So it just changed everything, changed the game, and now you scale bigger and stronger and faster to the point where now you want to nurture someone to be the manager of your business, and that will be your single focal point. They will then interact with the rest of the team, so you're now stepping farther and farther away from the details of day to
Yeah.
day, and you're more free to do things like that, to travel and to
Yeah.
do whatever you want.
And
You
enjoy,
know,
enjoy. They say enjoy the fruit of your labor.
yes,
Yeah. That's awesome. Before we go, I know this is like, and I really appreciate for bringing so much value to the audience. How, like, we're gonna do like one question and maybe another one. So, how do you define success?
Woo. Hey, that's my question. Wow. Yeah, and what's interesting about this question, because I ask this question at the end of every one of my shows. So
Mhm.
when I have you on my show, you have to completely forget that that's what happens.
Yeah.
The cool thing is that the answer for each individual changes over the course of their life. It's really cool. In fact, I just did a show last night. She said that out loud. You know what used to be success for me was this. Now it's not that. It's the exact opposite. It's
Yeah.
like, wow. So for me, success is knowing that I've given everything I've got to serve people with and give them the best of me so that they can be the best of themselves and get the most out of life that they desire. That's success to me. It's about freedom to be able to grow my business so that I can serve more people and do more for them going forward. If I do something, a business that doesn't help people, I don't want to do that business. That's one reason I have steered clear of real estate my entire life. I could not find a way in my mind to say, how am I helping anyone else by just making money off of transactions of properties?
Yeah.
Well, this past week, I spent 5, 6 hours with a gentleman who's a real estate investor who told me exactly how it helps people the way he does it. I'm like, you know what? I'm in now. I am looking very seriously into
Mhm.
getting him to mentor me for how he does real estate investment because now I see, wow, it will actually help people. So, okay, then I'm in. So for me, it's got to help somebody other than myself, in addition to myself, or I'm not going to go down that path, or I'll be very reluctant to. And if I do, and I'll find out quickly, it doesn't help people, then I'll bow out quick. But yeah, success for me is being able to help people to the fullest extent that I can.
And actually, that's really good. In a way, I would say living legacy. And the legacy is that people can be like, hey, Brian is the guy who has helped me to be able to afford this. I'm able to afford vacation for my family because of this guy, give me this knowledge, right? So I guess it was like a lot of times some people is like where they are more is like just me, just kind of, they don't really care. But without knowing that, listen, one day we are not gonna be here, and you're not gonna take this stuff with you in the grave, right? And there's a saying is like, you never seen a hearse, you never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse. That's how I heard that say. So, like you said, leave this, teach people, give people this, so these people can be able to help themselves and kind of be success by saying, hey, Brian is the guy. Let's do this, Brian, before we go. Um, can you just let's go back to the pitch, to elevator pitch again. Can you summarize about who's Brian Kelly and how can people find you?
Yeah, I would love to invite everyone to the masterclass. That it's live. I don't do recordings. I am going to offer a recorded version because some people just can't make it to the live or the replays that I only leave up for 48 hours.
Mhm.
So that's at peakmasterclass.com. And I have a gift I'd like to give everyone, Edward, if that's okay with you.
Yes, yes,
It's a club that I put together. It's called reachyourpeakclub.com. It's 100% free to join, and there are no monthly dues. It's free 100%. And inside, you'll see some resources that are very inexpensive compared to what you could get outside of that club.
yep,
Uh, and one of those being Zoom for the people. I use it every day for meetings. I never use it for live video. Hint, hint, wink, wink. No, no, no. It's good for meetings. It's good for webinars, but not for what we're doing like right now. What you're using, Edward, is perfectly fine.
yeah,
Um, and there are other resources in there that are at great and deep discounts, including access to the very VA agency I personally use. I was so enamored with them and I love them so much that I now promote them, not because they're paying me, which they give me affiliate income, but that's not why I do it. I always shout things from the rooftops if it gives the results. So reachyourpeakclub.com. If you go there, it's free. Oh, and yes, you'll get a hotel discount card.
yep,
You get paid. It doesn't cost you, but you get paid
yep, yep,
by
yep.
by way of hotel discount card. And then yeah, themindbodybusinessshow.com. That whole, I know it's a long URL, themindbodybusinessshow.com. You go there and you scroll to the bottom or you click any of the buttons, opt in, you get another hotel discount card, and then you'll get announcements whenever we go live. I'd love to see you there to interact with us live, to ask questions. I always put the people up on the screen to give them exposure because they came, they spent their time. Those are great ways. And then just look for my name. Most of my social media accounts end in Brian Carl Kelly. That's a CARL, and
Mhm.
it's BRIAN and KELLY. So that would be the various modes that folks can get connected.
Perfect. Reachyourpeakclub.com. That's the website to get a bunch of free stuff. Brian
It's not.
Kelly, my brother. Go ahead. Sorry, you about to say something?
Yeah, it's not all free. There's one thing that's free.
Yeah,
It's
no,
that's
but
discounted.
again, you connected to that network, you're gonna end up getting something free. I got my $300 for hotels, so I'm happy with that for start. So Brian, thank you so much again for taking the time to chat with me and adding value to listener. I appreciate. And if you want to say anything, maybe before we go.
I just want to say I appreciate you, Edward, for showing up, for doing this. Kudos to you. And for everyone watching and listening, is look, family can be the hardest critic of us. And it's unbelievable and it's weird and it shouldn't ever be that way. But it's really coming from a place of love, although they don't know that they're actually a lot of times shattering one's dreams by telling them you shouldn't be doing that. You're crazy. The
Yep.
thing I tell people is be true to yourself, be true to your passion. And the last thing I'll say is never, ever, 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 ever give up. Keep going forward.
Persistence. Thank you so much again, my friend. I really appreciate it. Just give me a second.